What's up, guys? This video's trivia winner is Macaulay. Go follow him on Twitter and go find me on Twitter to answer the next video's trivia question. Ray Strummer used to be in a trio named Dem Out of State Boys. I actually thought their song Just Like You wasn't too bad, so go check it out when you have a second. Fun fact, the third guy that left the group actually got signed later by Swaying Jimmy to Eardrummers in 2016. Now back to the video.
It was fun while it lasted. I don't believe it.
A few days ago, just in time for All-Star Weekend, Wale came out of nowhere and released his new single All-Star Breakup. But it was painfully obvious on Apple Music, Tidal, and every other streaming service that MMG and his own imprint Every Blue Moon were listed with the record, but his record label, Atlantic Records, was not. This prompted everyone to assume that he'd been dropped by the label, but when Atlantic was reached for comment, their answer was pretty short and simple. A rep at the label told DJ Booth, Wale is no longer with us. Now let's talk a little bit about Wale's career trajectory since he hit the mainstream. Wale had been buzzing in his hometown of DC, although he's really born in PG County, Maryland. But listen to his deep cut Wale from Maryland if you want to hear him address that.
They say, Wale from Maryland, Wale from Maryland. Shit, is that the best you got, hater? Go and tell everyone, because every one of y'all want to see us blow, so if it's by the means of me, by all means. Anyhow,
he'd been buzzing around DC when the mainstream got formally introduced to him through the XXL freshman list in 2009 and an article with GQ. In the GQ article, he's featured next to Drake and Cudi in a small feature called Gangsta Killers, which really kind of explains what the media at the time were calling Rap 2.0. A lot of people don't remember this, but Rap 2.0 was a phrase coined by the media, and never used by rappers by the way, that signaled the end of gangster rap like 50 Cent, and the rise in popularity of a more emotional and artistic hip-hop. Drake was making hits with his singing as well as rapping, Cudi was taking an emo approach to rap, and guys like Wiz Khalifa were making the internet a tool for growing their fan bases. Wale fit right into that mold. He was open and honest with his music. He has songs talking about a girl going through the feelings of being lesbian, his own doubts about his music, his frustration with people doubting him. At that point, it was really interesting because it looked like Cudi, Wale, Drake, and J. Cole were all neck and neck in success. One minute Drake would drop a classic mixtape, then Wale would have a single that charted, and Cudi would come out with his own tape just a few weeks later. Guys I'm even forgetting like Big Sean and Wiz weren't too far behind either. But somewhere along the way, Wale's career turned into something different than his peers. Obviously, Drake set the bar in terms of success, but all the others, including Wale, found great success. It's just that Wale seems like he's been so inconsistent. His frustrated and agitated persona doesn't help grow his fan base, and his albums have been up and down over the years. After a huge run of solid mixtapes back in DC, like 100 Miles and Running, Paint a Picture, and Beast of the Beltway, his studio albums haven't always been so consistent. Attention Deficit was a very frustrating debut album that Wale said he shouldn't have let Interscope Records have so much control on. Then there was Ambition, his first album with MMG, and probably his most popular. This one really put Wale into a good space. Every track on there felt good sonically, and I think the only real gripe from some fans was that they felt like he adopted Ross's sound too much. I didn't mind at all, it was great to me. After Ambition, he released The Gifted, which was a strong start to his Atlantic Records signing. The album hit #1, and then in 2015, he released the album About Nothing. Now for the mainstream, All About Nothing was great, but not a classic album. But to real Wale fans, they knew it was something special because it was a follow-up to his classic mixtape About Nothing, and all the work he's done with Seinfeld on mixtapes. That in itself probably deserves its own video. Then, most recently, he released Shine, his album that only sold 25,000 records in the first week. If I had to guess, I would say that Atlantic probably did drop Wale, but I don't think it's got everything to do with his sales. I think Wale, like he's shown in the past, is pretty hard to work with on a commercial level. From what I've heard from others, Wale was gone as soon as the album dropped. He was frustrated with Atlantic for trying to control his last album too much, and Atlantic basically gave him full creative control over this album and let the sales decide if he'd stay. So Wale's been gone for a few months, but it's just now coming to light. Usually when rappers leave a record label, they're not too interested in telling people that they just left, much less they just got dropped. Overall, it is a business, and you can't fault Atlantic Records for dropping him. But I think in the end, it's going to be a better look for Wale. He doesn't need to do big numbers to have a passionate fan base. He has a daughter now and is a great crew behind him with his Every Blue Moon imprint. Seriously, check out Phil Ade. He's been around for too long without getting the recognition he deserves. I'll link some of his older songs in the description and show you guys what got me into him back in 2008. But I want to know what you guys think. Is it a big deal that Wale got dropped from his label, or is this really the best thing for his career? And do you still think Wale is relevant in hip hop? Drop a comment below or follow me on Twitter at Thomas K. Welker and let's talk about Wale.